Hello everybody, and welcome to the Desk of Doom, where I review comics, so you don't have to. Now, that is the entire run of Zeb Wells' The Amazing Spider-Man, and in this video today, I'm going to be ranking them all. So let's get straight into it. First, we have the Tombstone arc. It was okay. It was alright. I think that it had some elements that everybody hated, and the first issue just flopped. Nobody liked it. Me personally, my favorite issue is number 4 because it's basically the summing up of everything, almost the climax. And the artwork from John Romita Jr. was dry, to say the least. His work in all the other issues are much better than this one. I don't really think that it's his fault. I think it's the inkers and the colorists, because they didn't really do much of anything in here. They just added flat colors. But overall, I'd rank this story arc at least a 6 or 5.5 out of 10. On to the next arc. We got issue 900, the big one, with Zeb Wells, Ed McGuinness, a new artist on Spider-Man's run. Ed McGuinness's art is pretty good, actually really good, and I think that a lot of his stuff before this was even better, but I think that this is his peak art right now. Anyways, number 900 follows a regular story arc where the villain, the Living Brain, actually has a human body in here and creates a villain called the Sinister Adaptoid, and the Sinister Six have to come together with Spider-Man to help themselves defeat the Sinister Adaptoid, which is what it's called. And it's actually a pretty good story, except, like many have said before, Ed McGuinness literally can't draw Doc Ock if his life depended on it. I rate this one a good 7 out of 10. It was an actually good arc. Next, we got the Vulture's story arc, which is issue number 7 and 8. Lots of people also don't like this one, except I'd say that it was a lot better than many of the others. You got this dude, the Vulture, who literally helped Spider-Man in the last issue, and his granddaughter says that he's a murderer because Spider-Man told her so. And so he comes back as the Vulture and beats the crap out of Spider-Man, and he doesn't know what to do. Except it's resolved well in the next issue, and it's the first appearance of Spider-Man's Oscorp suit. I think it showed all the gadgets really well, and I think that the colorist in here really helped John Romita's work flourish. So I'm rating this one a 7.5 out of 10. Not really that high, except it works. It works. Next, we got the Hellfire Gala. The Hellfire Gala was way too late, and I think that it felt too manufactured. You know, it just felt like a one-off issue, which it was supposed to be, except like John Romita Jr.'s art before, this issue is just dry because it really doesn't have anything going for it other than being a tie-in. So, yeah, maybe the end is good. I'm rating this one a 5. No, how about a 4 out of 10? I'm rating this one a 4 out of 10. Next, we got Judgment Day. And if I'm being honest, this one was right on time, unlike the Hellfire Gala, and I think it was put out really well, and the artwork in this issue was really good, and it's amazing. Nick Dragotta, the artist, is really good in this issue and makes it look really emotional. You can see everybody's life play out as they're being judged and basically all their loved ones come back. And Spider-Man was judged worthy over this. And so basically, we got Spider-Man saying his last goodbyes to Gwen Stacy, and then Norman Osborn sees her, which kicks off the Gold Goblin series, which I think was really good key points in there. Next, we got one of my personal favorites, the Hobgoblin story arc, which spans from issue number 11 to 13. You got the Hobgoblin running loose, which later in issue 12 we figure out is actually two Hobgoblins, Ned Leeds and Roderick Kingsley. And me personally, the third issue in this arc was really good. It had a great subplot leading into Dark Web, and the artwork by John Romita Jr. is probably the best I've seen in this run of The Amazing Spider-Man. Except, I'd say the peak John Romita art was probably back in 2001 to 2003. Except, anyways, this arc was really good. The artwork was really good, and I'd say the story behind it was really good. I'm giving this one the highest rank out of any of them. I'm giving it an 8.2 out of 10. Next, we got Dark Web, which wasn't really a good story arc, except it was good. It was actually really good. Although, my least favorite issue out of this, sorry, I lost the cover, except, my least favorite issue out of this was issue number 14, because it didn't really help anything other than talking about Chasm and all this stuff. Hey, but at least they killed off the guy that was making Spider-Man pay him in the first issue, so that was pretty good. And later in this arc, there was a lot of good stuff. Wreck Rap was in there, and I'd say that Spider-Man's time in Limbo was really good. I also like how he sewed his new suit and it looked like something out of a classic Steve Ditko comic. And the overall story in this was really good, with Spider-Man willing to save J. Jonah Jameson and Robbie Robertson, and them going all out and stuff like that. And I'm really glad with the abilities of Wreck Rap. Like, he's almost Spider-Man's Bizarro for Superman. So it was a really good arc, and I'm going to rate this one maybe an 8 out of 10. Yeah, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. The artwork, the writing skills, all that, it was amazing. Now this one, which is like Black Cat and Spider-Man doing, it was a fun little arc. It actually was. And, you know, I really like this stuff. Terry Dodson, guest penciler and colorist, and Joe Kelly taking over as the writer. I think it was good. And that's pretty much it. It wasn't great in all that sense, but it was fun. Guest writer Joe Kelly took over, and he basically fixed up the relationship of Felicia Hardy and Peter Parker, which I really like. And it was actually a great story arc. I like the sense of like mystery from it and the fake Sinister Six. I'm going to give this one a good maybe 6.7 out of 10. It was a good arc. It was a really good arc. Next, we got this Dr. Rabin arc. I wasn't liking it from the start because it just showed all this stuff and going back to this dude that we haven't seen for years. Like, the last time we saw him was 2007. You think we need him back again? Sure, Zebels did a pretty good job with the writing on the last story arc. Dr. Rabin was a good villain, except he was one of those villains that had to be one time. Overall, I think this arc was not so good, although you gotta remember, John Romita's doing the art for this, so that was pretty good. I don't think his art in here was as good as his was with the Hobgoblin arc, except it was okay. This arc was okay. I'd say my favorite issue out of this arc was probably maybe issue number 24. Also, The funny thing is, I gotta say, whoever was drawing Paul, the one guy, Paul, in here, he was drawing him way too buff. Like, he was never that buff to begin with. So, anyways, I'll rate this one a good, probably 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10 is pretty good overall. And next, we got the Doc Ock storyline, which spans from issue number 27 to issue number 30. Yay! And so, basically, the story arc is about Doc Ock getting really mad and abandoning his Dr. Octopus arms. And we later find out that his arms are sentient and that they've been coming over to J. Jonah Jameson's house for a while. And honestly, I think that this arc was actually really good. Seriously. Maybe even better than the Hobgoblin arc, because the beginning and the finishing, I didn't really like the first issue because it was way too weird with Peter Parker mourning the death of Kamala Khan. And I'm gonna say it out loud right here and now. The death of Kamala Khan was actually really uncalled for, and they shouldn't have done it. And, like, I don't understand why. They were just going to revive her as a mutant. Why couldn't they just make a story about that? And so, basically, the first issue was okay, and then the last 3 issues in here were actually really good. You got Dr. Octopus trying to re-inject the Goblin Serum in Norman Osborn. Norman Osborn, at first we thought he was evil, like he started laughing, and then we figure out that Norman Osborn is actually not evil, and he's been experimenting on the Goblin Serum, and he figures out that it's just giving him strength, and that he was the one who was actually evil. So Dr. Octopus was actually outsmarted, and so he wants to kill Norman Osborn now, except Spider-Man is putting on Dr. Octopus's arms, and it's just an amazing way to finish off the arc. Because then Dr. Octopus's arms basically rejoin with J. Jonah Jameson. And I think that's a really good bond. And I'm really hoping the arc after that is good. Because, man, we've been getting some crazy arcs. Overall, I'll rate this Dr. Octopus arc, honestly, it's probably the best one. I'm going to rate it a 9 out of 10. Seriously good. The artwork was amazing. And it was just great. So, I'll see you guys in the next video.